Good morning. For many of you, this is going to be your first introduction into the First Due Fire Department Management software. This is for the Waterbury Fire Department. I'm Captain Partridge. We're going to start up with our sign-in screen. When you get here, it's city email, go straight into the entry. For people that have not done this before, you might have to do a second authentication. You'll have to deal with Steve Poulin, give him a call, and he'll walk you through that specifically. So let's sign in. We come to the responder screen. That's the usual screen that pops up. You'll learn about that later. Right now, we're going to go strictly into the menu. The menu's in the top left. These three lines, you see my cursor on. Click on that, and it opens up the extensive menu the software has. This little arrow collapses that or expands it so that you can have more of the screen if you need it. Say we're looking at the personnel section and the personnel list. Right here you see I go into it and it's got a list of everybody. So you can use these search parameters across here. You can do a more extensive search with the next line being revealed with that arrow. But most of the time, you're going to put in a few letters of somebody's last name, hit the apply button, and boom, what you're looking for comes up. And here's my file. So I want everybody checking this for accuracy. Their company officer can open this up if you're not one of the people that has access to this, but check it for accuracy. Your address. Don't go changing the email. It's got to be the city email. All right. Make sure these two toggles are on. Your responder level. EMRs are under the first responder here. Okay, that's what we're using. In other parts of the software, it says just EMR. But for here, EMR is first responder. For EMTs, your level is fine. Moving on, addresses, zip codes, phone numbers, standard information that's really self-explanatory. The driver's license class is comparable to what the department's level of qualification to drive apparatus is presently. So that should be what's reflected. I don't need your expiration date. Start date with the department. We don't have secondary start dates. The start date ranking, we'll do that here. Whether you were first or last year class, we'll finish that out ourselves in the BAS. Your race, if you want to share, ethnicity, gender. I don't need your social security number. If you have a badge number, you're private, put that in there, please. This is where you put your employee number. Everybody check that, make sure yours is right. The API ID is a payroll ID. Everyone in the department is number one. Don't need either of those. The payroll ID, 100 for line personnel, 425 for civilians. All right, don't need any of this. You come down here, I work at the BAS. That's my shift. That's my position. That's my rank. Qualifiers, I'd like you to look at these. But if you need to change them, I prefer you called us and we worked on it together. All right. So you go through, you see what are the positions that you are qualified to work as. All right. And you'd be hired for overtime on this department. That's the real thought that you should look at when you look at this sort of thing. Let's see, test hire group. I don't need that anymore. All right. We look over here to the left, we've got the emergency contacts. Put in up to 2 contacts. You can toggle them on or off, open and close right there. If you do want to share with us your medical, your doctor's name and phone number and any allergies or anything else you have to share, that's completely up to you. It's not required. Over here, accruals. Everyone's interested in this, I'm sure. It's your time bank. This is not correct on mine. Yours won't be correct as of this recording either. Officers, once you do your training, you're going to immediately go into your personnel, do a V3 report on Firehouse, and check your essentials, and come in here and adjust these hours. So I've forgotten what I have exactly, but it's not 147. So you just come up here, you type in the new hours, you hit save, and boom, they are changed. The max hours are very high because, let's say somebody's on injury for the year, they couldn't use a lot of their hours, we're carrying over more than normal, okay? The sick leave is maxed out at $13.20, so that the people that get the payout in July, there's room to go to $13.20. Personal leave is capped at 24 hours for people in the, like me and like the line personnel, where it's capped at 24. Comp time is just a number that, without a doubt, I know I'll never have to ever worry about anybody reaching that, so it's really, really high. It does not mean anybody has the right to that amount of hours necessarily, okay? But please go in, do a V3 report, do your essentials, and update all the personnel that work under you immediately upon doing this training. So that is pretty much for the personnel information screens. These other parts, they're not being used yet. Eventually we'll be using the history, talking about transfers and stuff like that, so that'll all get in, right? So here we go. We're gonna move over back to the menu. We're gonna open the menu. We were in personnel here for personnel list. We're gonna go down to scheduling. And the first thing we're gonna look at is the dashboard. So if you look at my dashboard, all right, we have some limited information here, but it's something that you can access very simply on the app as well. If you hit settings in the app, you go to dashboard, you will find your qualifiers are listed under here, and also they're spelled out completely, right? But then we go over here, and this is your bank of hours, but they're not descriptive until you hover over them. On the app, you have to just touch them on a touch screen, and it'll come up and tell you what you have for vacation, sick, personal leave, and comp time. Over here on the right, you'll see your time off requests. So what's the days you've actually taken off, or you have coming up in the future that you have approved. Boom, just hover over it, and up it comes, you're all set. In the future, we'll be using this, so you'll be able to go to your dashboard and know that you personally have an assignment today, and it's sitting over here. Now we're going to go talk about your personal settings within the software. If we come over here, you click on your name, you come to the settings screen. Notice the screen is divided into settings and notifications. We are on the settings side. Email is correct. Do not change that. It's got to be the city email. Do not edit the name either. Keep it as it is. The phone, right here, this phone number, if it is wrong, it has to be your mobile number, your mobile device number, okay? If it's not your phone number, you are not getting the notification and texts and phone calls from the system for overtime. So this is critical for everyone here. All right, so more on how that works in a few minutes. We're just going to cover the rest of the screen. Over here, you see my signature. I have on a touch screen device like an iPad or my cell phone. I have entered into the app, clicked the add and edit button. Up here, I have created a signature. I save that. I'm going to close it right now. And then that's my signature for whenever I want to sign a report, whether it be a vehicle checklist report or a fire report or whatever. That's how I'm signing it. You can choose to use a touchscreen device and sign your report every single time you do a report if you do not want the system to have your signature. I myself find it convenient and have included it in the system. Here, your profile image will be uploading everybody's ID picture there. Beneath that, you have all dispatches. If you click this on, you're going to get notified of every single dispatch that the department has citywide 24/7. I have it shut off because I want to be able to select whose calls and what kind of calls I want to listen to and be notified of. So you can use this and select the units that you want to listen to. All right. I listen to everyone, so I leave it unselected, but I pare it down and I use a search of FD because those are the calls that I want to hear. They are the more serious calls, or maybe things I have to notify the staff about. I've selected those to be notified about. So that's my personal preference, and what you select is your personal preference. When you're done making your selections about which units and what kind of calls, just hit save. Over here, we're going to go to notifications. This is really in two separate sections. The notifications on/off button is for the calls, for the emergency calls, the dispatches of the department. If you don't want to hear those because you're sleeping, or you don't want to hear those ever for that matter, shut this off. And it looks for a time where it's going to automatically come back on. So you can set that up and you can say, okay, I don't want to hear it for the next 3 days. I'm going to be off. So on the 4th, I want it to come back on, and I can set the time it comes back on. Or if you're somebody that says, I don't want that thing ever coming back on. And, you can, go a couple years into the future and hit save, and it's not coming back on. Myself, I need mine on for my position. Separately, the personnel messaging options. This refers to two things: call shifts, the overtime notification, and messages. We are not currently using the messages, but it will follow up pretty quickly. But you should be most concerned right now with this one. The company that makes the software says that you should select at least 2 options to get notified for overtime. Texting is what I've selected, and a push notification through the app. Others have selected also a phone call, so there's not a chance that they will miss out on an overtime call. And others, again, have selected an email, so they have a hard copy of what's happened, when they've gotten their offers for overtime. What you select is completely up to you. Select the things that you think are appropriate, that you want, and you can select it again for messages. How do you want to be notified? If at all, you shut those right off for messages. And at this time, we're not using it for any official messaging in any important matters at the moment. So you can shut those right off right now if you so choose. But these ones here, very important for you to make your selections and hit save preferences. All right, so in this section, we've gone over your personnel list and the information in your personnel list. That's accessible again from over here, personnel list. Then we went down to scheduling, and we talked about your personal dashboard. Then we've come over and we've handled your settings. Go through the phone number that you have to have in for overtime, whether or not you want a signature, what dispatches you want to listen to personally on your own personal device, notifications of those dispatches, and then notifications of your overtime. And remember to save the preferences when you're done. Thank you very much for your attention, and good luck.